Let's face it, sometimes it is really hard to get out of bed in the morning. You're feeling a little bit groggy, the covers are warm, it's either cold or raining outside or too warm or whatever. Sometimes you just simply don't want to get out of bed. That said, there are a few simple but effective strategies that you can use to get out of bed each morning feeling energized and ready to attack the world. Hi, my name is Steve Scott, and in this video I'm going to talk about 6 simple rules you can use to get out of bed in the morning. Now, these are the same exact strategies that I personally use to turn basically from a night owl into someone who gets up at 6 o'clock each morning and gets a lot of things accomplished in the first few hours of the day. So let's get to the content. All right, let's quickly start with a brief backstory and talk about why I'm particularly interested in morning routines and getting out of bed. Like a lot of people who have their own home business, I, over the years, just started developing the bad habit of kind of lounging around in bed, looking at my phone, looking at Facebook, email, Instagram, stats, whatever. And sometimes when the alarm went off, it would take me about 45 minutes to actually get out of bed and start with my first task. Now, everything changed when my son was born, and I realized that I only had a very limited time where I could get things done before he was up, and I had to feed him breakfast, change him, the whole thing. So the point being is I had to adopt a series of strategies that would help me get out of bed feeling just ready and energetic and prepared to address the new day. So these are 6 simple rules that I have personally used. So let's talk about number 1. Okay, number 1 is avoid alcohol and caffeine in the last few hours of the evening. Now, I know we all like an occasional beer or a cup of coffee or tea at the end of the day, but honestly, when it comes to your sleep cycles, this is probably the worst thing you could possibly do, is consume either one of them in the last few hours before the end of the day. The problem with alcohol is it disrupts your REM stage of sleep, which is when your body is restoring itself. And on the other hand, the problem with caffeine is it'll keep you from falling asleep, and often you'll be up an hour or two later than you originally anticipated. And the ramifications of drinking both is in the morning you will be feeling lethargic and unenergetic. So bottom line, I would really highly recommend that you minimize the amount of alcohol and caffeine, and definitely don't do it in the last hour or two before bedtime. As a substitution, I would highly recommend you listen to soothing music, you take a bath, you talk to your partner, you do stuff that just generally relaxes you in the evening. All right, that brings us to rule number 2. Stow your phone away from your bedside. Let's be honest here. What is the first thing you probably do in the morning? If you're like a lot of people, you pull out your phone, you look at YouTube, you look at Facebook, email, Instagram, the news, all sorts of things. We all do it. The problem is this habit often prevents you from getting out of bed first thing in the morning. Now, in a video that I recently recorded called 17 Good Habits That Take 1 minute or less to complete, I talked about a concept called activation energy that I got from the book called The Happiness Advantage by Sean Achor. Anyway, the concept of activation energy is you can create a habit simply by having the tool related to that habit be accessible 20 seconds or less to get it. So if you want to play the guitar, you want to put the guitar next to you so you can always play it at any given time. Now, the reverse is also true. If you put barriers in your life to certain bad habits that you're trying to eliminate, it becomes a lot more difficult to start doing those bad habits. So for the sake of this particular video, I would highly recommend that you put your phone somewhere else in the house. As an example, I put my phone downstairs, so it takes me about a minute and a half to crawl out of my bed, go downstairs and look at my phone. So if I really want to check something, I'm basically out of bed anyway, so might as well start my day. Now, I know the first thing you're probably going to say is, well, I need it to, get up in the morning. I need it for my alarm clock. Well, there is an invention. It's a great brand new invention. It's called an alarm clock. You can go to Amazon. You could type in alarm clock and you could buy one for only $10. You don't necessarily need your phone to wake up. It's just in the last couple of years, we've been programmed to think that a phone can be used as an alarm clock, where there's a perfectly good device that can serve as that type of tool. That brings us to rule number 3. Get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Okay, I know you've heard this dozens, probably hundreds, thousands of times, how important it is to get a full night of sleep, which is about 7 to 8 hours. You know this already, but the sad fact is, in a recent study, according to the National Sleep Foundation, really only 10% of Americans prioritize sleep over other activities in their life. So the bottom line is, most of us are not getting a full night's sleep, and that is probably why you are feeling groggy and unable to get out of bed in the morning. Now, I love TV, I love technology, I love all sorts of stuff at night that happens. I'm looking forward to Game of Thrones. I can't wait to see the final season. That said, all these amazing shows and stuff that's happening in life is not as important as getting a full night's sleep and feeling rested every single day. So I would highly recommend prioritizing your sleep over every other activity that you do in the evening. Number 4, avoid the snooze button. Hitting the snooze button first thing in the morning contributes to your tiredness because it disorients your brain and body. You don't quite fall into that deep sleep that we all need, but you're not quite awake. You're in this twilight state where you're neither awake nor asleep. So what I suggest is really simple, but very hard to do in the real world. And that is, whenever the alarm goes off, you hit the alarm, you turn it off, and you immediately get out of bed. Now this is really challenging, but that 1 minute of just that pain of getting out immediately as soon as the alarm goes off is well worth it, because you will get a lot of time back throughout your day. Which leads us to number 5, wake up at the same time every morning, even on the weekends. Now I know this one you might not agree with, but once you get into the habit of getting up at the same time every single morning, you'll start to actually wake up a few minutes before your alarm goes off, and you'll just get up feeling energized and immediately ready to attack the day. Now the question you might have is, what time should you get up? Now I know a lot of personal development people, they love to almost have like this humble brag about, oh, I get up at 4 o'clock, I get up at 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, whatever. Honestly, what time you get up is really up to you. I don't think there is a right or wrong answer here. I personally get up around 6 or so, maybe a couple minutes before, a couple minutes after. I actually don't use an alarm clock because I have used all these rules that I've outlined in this particular video. So I get up at 6 o'clock. That gives me about an hour or so to get up, do a few things during my morning routine, and spend 30 minutes on my most important tasks for the day. And around 7 o'clock is when my son gets out of bed, and once he's up, and I have to start taking care of him. So that gives me a good hour or so to take care of what's important for my business and my just my overall mental health. And finally, let's talk about rule number 6. Focus on your number 1 goal. Now, all 5 of the rules that I just outlined will help you wake up in the morning feeling energized and awake. But honestly, this last rule, number 6, is what really clicked for me. And this is something I started to do back in 2012 when I got into self-publishing. Each morning I would wake up and I would focus on doing 30 to 60 minutes of writing. And I would get out of bed ready to attack the day because I knew I was working on something that would help grow my business and ultimately lead to more income in my life. Now, as I mentioned before, my son gets up at 7 o'clock now, so I basically, every day now, I get up and I work on my most important task. A lot of times that's writing, sometimes now it is creating scripts for these particular YouTube videos. The point is each morning I have something that I am looking forward to, and it helps me just get out of bed ready to attack the day. So there you have it, 6 simple rules that you can use to get out of bed in the morning. Now, if you'd like to learn more about morning routines or productivity or anything related to those particular topics, I would recommend subscribing to my channel and hitting the notification bell, because that will let you know whenever I have a video that has been recently published. But at this point, I would love to hear your comments. Is getting out of bed in the morning, is that something that you personally struggle with? What are the first couple habits that you do in the morning? And also any challenges that you have related to morning routines. I'd love to hear all about it. Just simply comment in below this video and share your thoughts. Well, that's it for this video, and I will talk to you in the next one.